What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Radiovania episode number 15, your Civil War Super Show. My name is Zach Rotella. Joining me is John Parker. How you doing, John?
Hey, everyone.
For everyone that doesn't know, Radiovania is your nerdy public radio for all things entertainment and pop culture. And basically what we do here at Radiovania on Twitter, at Zach Rotella on Twitter, at Dad John Parker on Twitter, is we talk about the nerdy stuff that you like to know about. And we go through the news. Sometimes we'll just bullshit about random funny topics that we've got, and it's a fun time.
Yeah, so you better enjoy it.
Oh, we'll enjoy it. You having a good day?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think we're both a little tired. Exam week came to an end.
Yeah, to a conclusion.
It's hitting me for some reason really hard today. Like I had so much trouble getting out of bed this morning.
Yeah,
it was awful. But finished that exam, got coffee.
Way to go, Zach.
Thank you. And we're gonna go see Civil War, Marvel's Civil War.
Can't complain.
It's
time.
Tonight 8.
It's finally here.
We should probably buy the tickets on the show.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Live ticket purchase.
Buying.
We're gonna read our credit card number and everything.
Tell you what, because I'm gonna buy one for me and Carly.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy one for you and Kyle?
That's fine.
Or do you think we should all buy them on one account?
No, we could just do it separately.
Okay. Interesting radio. I'm sure you guys are all enjoying that. John, since we have... so we're going to split the show into two today. Right now we're going to do some news, and we're going to do a pre-show for Civil War, talk about our feelings, how we're feeling. But first, we're going to burn through the hot topics like, what? Tissue paper?
Tissue paper.
We're going to cut through tissue paper.
Yep.
You heard it first. So let's start it off from Entertainment Weekly. This comes from James Hibbard, and it says, Marvel's The Punisher spinoff is ordered by Netflix. It says, it's official, The Punisher is getting his own TV series. EW has learned that Marvel has ordered a spinoff starring vigilante character introduced in Daredevil Season 2. John Berthnell will reprise his role as vengeful military veteran Frank Castle, who brings his own lethal form of justice to Hell's Kitchen. Writer and executive producer Steve Lightfoot, Hannibal, and Casualty will serve as showrunner. John, have you started watching that Daredevil yet?
No, I'm still watching Flash.
Okay. You watched like 4 episodes the other night before you went to bed, right?
It's incredible, yeah. I love it so much.
So would you call it... where would you rank The Flash in your echelon of superhero shows?
Superhero shows?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you got like Batman, the animated series.
Oh, that's number one.
Spider-Man, the new generation. X-Men, the animated series.
I would say I don't know. I would say Flash is probably top 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I like Batman animated series. Justice League had a good run.
Okay.
There's some good Marvel cartoons as well, but yeah, I still need to watch Daredevil. That's next on the list.
It's great. The first season was fabulous. I haven't watched the second season yet, but I've been hearing nothing but great things about Punisher.
Yeah, maybe we should watch the second season.
We probably should.
Yeah.
We'd keep up on that. But on the movie news from ScreenCrush.com, it says, why the Ghostbusters trailer is the most disliked movie trailer in YouTube history.
Because it sucks.
This comes from Mike Sampson 6 days ago. And it says, the Ghostbusters trailer currently has 507,610,000. I said that number weird. How do you say that? 507,610?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Phew. Math.
It's been a long day for him, guys.
Folks, yeah. But it has a lot of dislikes on YouTube. To put that in perspective, the Fantastic Four trailer from last year has only 20,000 dislikes. The Ridiculous 6 trailer, which has an impressive 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, has only 5,803 dislikes. Could Ghostbusters be that much worse than either of those two movies?
I don't know. I don't think the movie could be worse than those two movies because those two movies are garbage. But this trailer is just bad. It's just a bad trailer.
And what was funny...
Like, the Star Trek Beyond trailer is not good as well.
No.
But that movie, I'm sure, will
good.
be fine.
Yeah.
It's just a poorly cut trailer.
Yeah, the editing I think is what killed it because I like most of the actors. Melissa McCarthy, I'm not a huge fan of, but
I would agree.
But she's not like, I don't know, she's not Adam Sandler bad.
No, God,
and
no.
When we saw, what movie did we see where we saw the Ghostbusters? It was like
we went and saw Cloverfield.
Was it Cloverfield?
And they had the new Ghostbusters trailer, and it was a little bit better.
Yeah, I thought it was just a few weird moments that they decided to trim and make it a little bit more. I don't know. It felt smoother to me.
Sure.
Whatever the trailer that has all the dislikes is the one that was the original one.
Yeah.
And man, that's rough. Like, it's a rough trailer. It's not funny. The jokes don't land. The visuals are off.
Starts out getting slimed. Like,
I don't know. It didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And that's depressing because I love Ghostbusters and I want the movie to be good because I like You always have to remind me of the girl's name. The blonde.
Kristen Wiig.
No,
Kate
Kristen
McKinnon.
Wiig's amazing. Kate McKinnon, yes.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I don't know that trailer. But, from The Guardian, Melissa McCarthy admits she found the Ghostbusters trailer, quote, very confusing. This comes from Benjamin Lee on Tuesday, the 3rd of May. It says, Melissa McCarthy has responded to criticism of the Ghostbusters reboot, saying she finds the original trailer very confusing. The past week saw the trailer for the all-female take on the sci-fi comedy become the most disliked trailer on YouTube, with over 600,000 thumbs down votes. McCarthy, who stars in the film alongside Kristen Wiig, has now spoken about her concerns over the way the trailer presents the story. Quote, "It's a reboot, not a remake," she said on the John Jay and Rich show. "I know it's weird that they say in the trailer 30 years ago, but in this movie, it's like the first one didn't happen. It's a great story, but it's told totally differently. It's 4 unlikely heroes, it's in New York City, ghosts are taking over, it's that same classic story, but it's not 30 years later. It's not dependent on the first one." End quote.
Interesting.
Why would you say that?
I don't know.
That's a terrible quote.
Yeah.
That's a terrible quote. So, Ghostbusters isn't relevant.
Apparently not.
Right? Ghostbusters is not relevant. It was relevant, and if you say Ghostbusters, people think of the song. People might think of Bill Murray. Recently, you might think of the director who passed away,
Yeah.
Harold Ramis. And, you'll think about these things, but Ghostbusters to children I don't feel is very relevant anymore.
No, definitely
And so
not.
when you're coming out with this, when you got ostensibly the star of the movie saying, I know it's weird they say 30 years ago, but in this movie, it's like the first one didn't even happen. Like,
That's just weird. Because
so why do
Bill
I
Murray
care?
supposed to be in the movie?
Yeah, apparently. He's listed on IMDb, but they haven't come out and said it. I'm assuming they just want to make it a surprise.
I thought it was going to be a continuation.
Me too.
I was kind of excited for it to continue with the legacy of the characters and the story and stuff like that. But it's weird that she's like, it's like the first one never happened. And then she just starts listing off everything that it is. It's like, that's the same story.
same story.
You know what I mean?
It just seems like if
know.
you're going to make a reboot of something that's very beloved to an older generation like Ghostbusters, I think you would want to err on the safer side and pull an episode 7, Maybe make a safer movie with a lot of callbacks.
Crossing the streams.
Yeah, lots of homages, and I don't know. I think this movie's in trouble.
Only time will tell. We'll have to check it out.
We will. That's our getting bombed and going to Cinebistro, right?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. From The Hollywood Reporter says Justin.
We're going to love that movie.
Oh, it's going to be good. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. But then we're going to sit down
We're
and
going
watch
to
it.
do Radiovania and we're going to be like, wait, what did we watch?
We're going to watch it a month later sober and be like, oh, no. That was so bad. We redact everything we said on Radiovania. From The Hollywood Reporter says Justin Lin circling Space Jam, sequel starring LeBron James.
LeBron James.
The Fast and Furious 6 and Star Trek Beyond Helmer is co-writing. Lin is also looking to direct and produce via his Perfect Storm Entertainment, and sources say he will thoroughly be involved in the creative development of the project. The WME rep Cleveland Cavaliers forward, who recently appeared in the Amy Schumer comedy Trainwreck, will star in the sequel. Rumors of a follow-up to the live-action animated 1996 hit have been circulating for years, but picked up steam in July when James and his company Spring Hill Entertainment signed a deal with Warner Brothers. Space Jam came out in 1996.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
I remember having that on VHS, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You're more of the sports guy than I am, and so your insight is always appreciated on the show when
Sure.
it comes to the sports and the events of sporting events. How do you feel about LeBron James taking the helm for Michael Jordan?
I think it's the smart move because I think he has more acting experience than someone. Because, I always thought that if they're going to do another Space Jam, they would have done it with Kobe.
Interesting.
But I don't think Kobe wants to do a
Kobe's-
movie.
Do you think Kobe's name has more cachet than LeBron James?
I think he used to. I don't think it does now. So I think that's why they have to go with LeBron. Plus, like you said, he was already in Trainwreck, which I thought he was really good in.
I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Okay. No. He's good in it. He's really funny.
I've heard he's funny, yeah.
Yeah, he's not overwhelmingly in a lot of the movie, but it's good, the parts that he is in.
He plays himself in Trainwreck.
Yes, he just plays
right?
LeBron James. And he'll do this in Space Jam as well. He'll just be himself, but with cartoons. What I think is interesting is that because I love Looney Tunes.
Oh, I love Looney Tunes.
I don't think it's relevant to kids now.
There's still Looney Tunes shows on Cartoon Network.
Right,
but
not the original Looney Tunes like when Space Jam first came out. So I'm excited for the movie. I love basketball, and I love Looney Tunes. So let's go. I wish there was 6 Space Jam movies.
I just wish there were more Looney Tunes movies.
Oh, yeah,
like
definitely.
they did the one in
With,
2006 with
Brendan
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And I stand by, I don't think that movie's bad.
Looney Tunes back in action?
Yeah, I think Brendan Fraser was dumb and Steve Martin was dumb. But
Brendan Fraser was coming off of The Mummy, so he was kind of... So what I'm interested to see is in the first movie, you know, they brought in other basketball stars who are the ones that get their powers stolen by the Monstars. And they had Ewing.
Shout out to Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, Charles Barkley. And so I'm wondering which other NBA players they're going to get. You know, if that's how if they go that route where it's like other NBA players are in the movie, which I would like to think there would be.
You would assume Michael Jordan would make a comeback too.
You think? I think he would make a cameo,
Absolutely.
maybe. But yeah, it's exciting. I think it's a very fun movie.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a second one. I think it's been enough time that they could do some really fun, you know, pulls back to the original as well as some new jokes and stuff like that. And like the Looney Tunes are great. So
the Looney
let's
Tunes
go.
are great, and that's my like biggest problem is that I wish that there were more Looney Tunes movies just in theaters. Like, why does Space Jam have to be the movie that brings it back? The answer is because it's the most relevant. Like,
definitely.
People the '90s are going through such a revival. Everything from the '90s is new again, and we'll get to that in a minute. But like, why can't there just be a Looney Tunes movie?
I don't know.
I think that'd be cool. Next up on the docket, this is a John Parker story if I ever heard one, son. You will probably see your favorite villain in Affleck's Batman movie. This comes from birthmoviesdeath.com, which I've never heard of before this, but it actually looks like a really cool website. They've got this like cool banner art here with a bunch of DC comic villains. Oh, that's from Hush?
Mm-hmm.
Who will be the villain in The Batman to be directed by Ben Affleck? A lot of people are speculating that it'll be a version of Under the Red Hood, in which dead Robin Jason Todd returns from the grave as a vengeful villain. I'm hearing that is not the case, and it's smart to avoid. It would look too much like DC is doing their own Winter Soldier at this point. To be fair, I don't know who the main villain of the movie will be, but my sources have told me this. Many, if not most, members of Batman's Rogues Gallery will be making appearances in the film. It's going to be crammed with Bat villains, which means that just about every major bad guy you've ever wanted to see in a movie will be in this movie. According to my sources, Affleck and Jeff Johns, who has been working with him on the film, want to make the definitive Batman film. They want to tell the ultimate Batman story, and to do so, they're going to bring in all the big guns. What do you think about this, John?
So we talked a couple days ago about this. There's a couple possibilities that they could do with this. You know, you could do like an Arkham Asylum type movie. You know, you can have a lot of villains in that.
I think it's smart that they'll keep it in Arkham. I think that would probably be...
It'd be interesting to have it in like one set location, you know. And then another thing is you've read Hush. That has all of his villains in it. It has the entire Rogues Gallery. And the main villain is Hush, who we find out at the end of the movie to be Clayface pretending to be Jason Todd, and then Jason Todd is actually the villain. So they could just be throwing
It's basically
us,
just like a who's who.
Yeah, they could just be throwing you for a loop, and it could very well be very similar to the Hush storyline if they did that.
Sure.
I could also see them trying to do the Knight's End storyline, but they kind of did that in The Dark Knight Rises, which is where Bane is out to get Batman, and then eventually he breaks his back.
I think it would be... I don't think
they would do that,
Bane,
but the only reason why I say that is because at the beginning of that storyline, Bane lets all the inmates out of Arkham, and Batman spends the entire night hunting all of them down, and at the very end he comes home and he's really tired and he's broken and he's been fighting everybody, including the Joker and some of his, you know, darkest enemies. He comes home to get bandaged up by Alfred, and Alfred's knocked out, and then Bane's waiting for him at Wayne Manor, and then just kicks his ass and breaks his back at the end of the book, and you're like... Wow. Dude, Batman just got owned.
Yeah,
so I could see them doing something like that, but they could just come up with an original story, which I'd be excited for.
I think they're going to go the route of the original story. I do think that they're going to draw inspiration from a lot of stuff, and
those three books, I think, are perfect things to draw from. So.
And like I told you, I think one of the most relevant Batman pieces of media in pop culture right now is the Arkham series, like on PS4 and Xbox One.
The games, yeah.
Those games sell heinous amounts of copies, and people love them, and they're critically praised around the clock. I mean, Arkham Knight got berated a little bit because of the Batmobile and the Bat Tank, but it was still a great story.
It was beautiful, too.
Yeah, beautiful game. And I think that they would be smart to draw inspiration from Arkham Asylum and just have... I mean, how cool would it be to have a smartly written 2.5-hour film with Batman locked in Arkham Asylum, and he's just got to take these guys down?
I think it'd be incredible.
It would be incredible, and I think that's a great elevator pitch for a Batman movie.
That would get DC back on the map.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think that they would be stupid to not feature the Joker in the Batman standalone movie, and I think that's really what they're setting up for.
He's going to be in it. Definitely.
Because just having Batman in, like we said with Suicide Squad, he's probably only in the first 10 minutes or so.
You've seen the new trailer, right?
There's a new one?
Yeah.
You're talking about the Ballroom Blitz one,
Yes,
right?
yeah, the
Didn't we
Blitz
talk
trailer.
about that on the show?
Oh, we might have done that
I think we
already.
talked about it on the show.
Anyway, going back, I watched it again last night. I love the shot of him carrying Harley Quinn to the
it's
Batmobile.
awesome. I still like the shot of him jumping off the bridge, and it's just like he looks
Yeah.
like a demon. It's gonna be cool. But yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, seriously. And to round out the movie news, Power Rangers exclusive from EW. Here's your first look at the gang's new suits. Have you seen this yet? Come take a look at this photo. So this is the first official photo of the new Power Rangers cast. Yeah.
Who would have thought they would have made a Power Rangers movie?
Dude, like I was saying, everything from the 90s is relevant again. Bring it back. They're going to do it. They're probably, like Hasbro's working on that toy division line or whatever. They're going to, God willing, they're
The
going to try
Hasbro
to
Cinematic Universe.
They're going to try to do G.I. Joe. They tried to do Battleship. Remember that movie? Battleship? Rihanna was in that. Did you see that movie?
No.
I heard that
so
movie
bad.
was trash, man. When the Power Rangers revival morphs into theaters, the 5 teenagers with attitude won't be wearing the original series' campy costumes to battle Rita Repulsa, played by Elizabeth Banks, shout out. Instead, the new cast singer Becky G as Yellow Ranger Trini, Ludi Lin as Black Ranger Zach, Decray Montgomery as Red Ranger Jason, Naomi Scott as Pink Ranger Kimberly, and RJ Seiler as Blue Ranger Billy will don translucent extraterrestrial armor that crystallizes around their bodies.
Sweet.
I'm hoping this turns out better than TMNT, because this is reminding me a lot of TMNT right now. Just because, like, that's another 90s property that's getting revivaled, and I did not like that new one.
When's the second one come out this summer?
Sometime this summer, June or July.
I'll have to check it out. It's got Casey Jones.
I do want to watch it. Casey Jones, awesome. Megan Fox, not awesome. And
Agreed.
I don't know. TMNT, I got a friend that's really, really obsessed with Turtles. It's one of his favorite franchises. It's probably his favorite franchise. And so, like, I want the movie to be good just for people like him that love Turtles.
Yeah, and that cartoon's so good.
Yeah, it's dated, definitely.
Well, yeah.
But it's still good. So from IGN.com, PlayStation Plus versus Games with Gold comparison. This was edited 2 days ago. This is from the wikis, and I'm just going to go through it really quick. The May games for PS Plus and Games with Gold. Have you checked out any of these yet? So all these games should be available. In fact, I downloaded mine yesterday. For the PS4, Tropico 5 and Tabletop Racing World Tour. You also have Switch Galaxy Ultra, Bionic Commando Rearmed 2, Loco Roco Cocorecho, I think is how you're saying that, and God of War Goes to Sparta. So the ones I did pick up, I picked up Tropico 5 and Tabletop Racing, and I have on my Vita at home downloading God of War, and I'm going to plug in the PS3 so I can get Loco Roco because I love those games. For Games with Gold, Defense Grid 2 and Costume Quest 2 are both coming to Xbox One, and then Grid 2 and Peggle are coming to Xbox 360. Kind of a weak month. The PS3 game is cool. I like Loco Roco, but it's like a mini game. Have you ever played one of those? They're fun. They're a fun little time waster. And God of War, of course, is huge. But it's a PSP game that's just coming to PS Vita. So they're really scratching the bottom of the barrel of games for the platform. Tried Tabletop Racing World Tour last night for 10 minutes. That game sucks. It's really bad.
Wow.
It's basically it's not a kart racer and it's not a driving sim. It's some weird thing in the middle where there's no drift. The items are basically just rockets and speed boosts, and your miniaturized RC cars driving around like big. It's basically like Ant-Man.
It's like Toy Story.
It's Ant-Man the Racer. Yeah, Toy Story.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way to think about it. Yeah. Not fun. Doesn't control well. Tropico 5, I'm excited to jump into maybe for like an hour or two. I've heard it's a lot like Civilization.
Okay.
It seems like a Michael game.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly. They call you El Presidente in it, so.
Hard as Mike.
Yeah, seriously. Shout out to Hard as Mike. Go friend him on Twitter and tell him to, what should we tell him? Go Hard as Mike on Twitter and tweet him.
Keep your liver clean.
Yeah, something about liver. Maybe just post pictures of police officers giving stern looks. How's that sound?
Or people going to like the drunk tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do that too.
Stomach pump.
Yeah. He's in Gatlinburg right now, probably drinking away his life. So
if we had his cabin number, we'd give it to you so you guys say hi, but we don't.
All the Radio Video audiences, go TP the cabin number or whatever it is. From Eurogamer, it says Sony's PSN is making more money than all of Nintendo. This comes from Wesleyan Poole. Sony's PlayStation Network made more money than all of Nintendo during the last financial year. The difference was pointed out this morning by Twitter user ZHugeX. says Sony's PlayStation Network sales hit 529,000 yen, which means that PSN generated more revenue than the whole of Nintendo, 504,000 yen. So just throwing that in there. Nintendo.
Sorry, Nintendo.
Yeah, sorry.
We love you. We really do.
We do.
Do better.
100%. Do better. We'll see.
We're not mad. We're just disappointed.
With games like Paper Mario Paint Jam.
Star Fox Zero, or whatever it's called.
Who knows? They could turn it all around.
Doubt it.
From Robert Cogburn on the PlayStation blog, it says Uncharted 4 multiplayer guide. So Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, will hit store shelves on May 10th. Oh boy! Let's go! I got mine pre-ordered. You?
Not yet.
Oh, it's going to be so good. And while we've talked a lot about the single-player campaign, many multiplayer details have remained under wraps. That ends today, as we fill you in on what to expect, as well as the philosophy behind some of the new directions we took with multiplayer. Right off the bat, we want to highlight that all future maps and modes will be included with Uncharted 4 at no additional cost. All vanity and gameplay in-store items will be unlockable through gameplay. This means that the Uncharted 4 multiplayer community won't be fragmented by different types of DLC, and that those who are loyal and participating in the community will be rewarded. Our DLC release approach will represent an entirely new direction for Naughty Dog, and we are confident it will have a hugely positive impact and keep the Uncharted multiplayer community thriving. So, they have a map here on the site. So summer 2016, new maps, new games modes, new skins, new vanity items. Autumn 2016, more maps. Winter 2016, more weapons, more boosters, more skins. Spring 2017, more weapons, more boosters, more skins. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. And we're not going to have to pay for any of it because Naughty Dog is awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Like, seriously, like, this is huge. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the biggest game releases, the biggest PlayStation exclusive release of the year.
Definitely.
Is not going to be hamstrung by DLC.
Thank the Lord.
Seriously, like, I'm still salty about, like, the Battlefront DLC making you pay $50 extra for all the maps.
We're actually getting the entire Battlefront game in the Christmas of the following year.
The review embargo lifted today, so I'm trying to stay as far away from this game as possible just to avoid spoilers. But I did look through some of, like, the review summaries. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Good?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Got some 10s in there. Got some 9s in there.
I'm ready.
Yeah. I no doubt that this game is going to be incredible.
We saw a preview for it
Yeah.
at a club. A dance club in Columbus.
A dance club that one Hard as Mike dragged our sorry butts to.
Shout out to Bullwinkles.
Yeah.
One of the raunchiest places.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to redact that. No shout out to Bullwinkles. I'm going to give them I don't know.
It was just funny. We're hanging out. People were grinding up against mirrors and stuff like that.
It was sweaty and dirty.
It was gross. And then I just look up, and on the projector is an Uncharted 4 trailer. And I pointed Zach. I'm like, yo!
Best part of that bar.
It was so awesome.
Yeah. That was
Anyway.
best. I was happy after that. Before, I just had to look at gross couples. And it reminded me of high school dances.
Animals.
Dirty, rotten animals. So, the past week, Call of Duty put it on their YouTube and on their Twitch, and they talked about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Legacy Edition, which comes bundled with a remaster of Modern Warfare 1 and 10 additional maps for multiplayer. And a lot of people had questions about this. I thought the trailer looked pretty cool. I'm considering buying it. It's going to be a lot of money. The Legacy Edition is $80 compared to the $59.99, which would be the standard game. And a lot of people were just saying, oh, well, I'm just going to get the Modern Warfare remaster.
You can't.
Turns out you can't, boy. On the FAQ for Infinite Warfare on Activision, it says, will Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered come as a separate disc? It says, no, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered is a full game digital download that will be included in the Legacy, Legacy Pro, and Digital Deluxe editions of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Internet connection required. So, no, you can't play the game by yourself. You got to buy the game. You got to pay $80 to get Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, this is, of course...
That game's awesome, though.
Oh, it's an awesome game. And I would gladly pay $60
for the game.
For Modern Warfare Remastered. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my favorite memories of PS3 and Xbox 360.
So basically, you're paying $60 for Modern Warfare and getting Infinite Warfare.
No.
You're the extra $20. No, in your eyes.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Because I wouldn't even play Infinite Warfare until after I'd played Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that I would want to play because I remember playing that all the time.
And I'm sure the multiplayer is great for Infinite Warfare because Call of Duty always nails the multiplayer. It's always fun.
Yeah.
The campaign looks cool, space, ships and stuff. It's whatever. Yeah. But Modern Warfare was just a masterclass. It was.
They need to stop going forward and start going back.
I think so too. Well, there's rumors that the next Battlefield game is set in World War II.
Ooh.
And I'm excited about that. That would actually excite me a lot, is to have a history-based shooter, because we haven't had one of those in forever since World at War.
Yeah. Wow. 2009 maybe?
Yeah, or earlier, 2009 or maybe 2010.
Yeah.
But but you have it right. I would pay $60 for just Modern Warfare Remastered and the maps for it, right? But they're charging me $80 for Infinite Warfare, the maps for that, and Modern Warfare. It's like, yeah, I understand you need to make money, but is there any way we could have done an a la carte thing? Like, maybe? No. Come on, Activision.
It's a business.
It is a business, but sooner or later, Call of Duty sales are going to start to drop, because sooner or later, people are they're going to get tired of your game. Like, if you just keep putting it out every year. But we'll see. When the cards... Today, this is something I'm super excited about, and we only have 2 more stories left. From GameSpot by Eddie McCuck. Persona 5 release date announced for Japan, and watch the new trailer here. So, right off the bat, Persona. Ever played it?
No.
That's a hard no from John Parker. Best Japanese role-playing game I've ever played is Persona 4 Golden on the PS Vita. Really easily accessible, really entertaining, great voice acting, excellent story, excellent gameplay. It's basically Pokemon for adults.
Oh, sweet.
That's the best way I can describe it. You play as a high schooler kid in Japan, and you suddenly weird things start happening in this town, some murders, and you and your friends basically set out to find out who the killer is and to stop them. But you have these monsters that you travel with called personas, and instead of throwing them out of a ball, you throw a playing card and slice it with a sword, and then your monster comes out.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's a really cool game. I highly recommend it, but the Persona 4 Golden is only available on the Vita, and since not many people own that platform, it's kind of hard to recommend it.
Yeah.
But Persona 5 is coming to PS4, PS3, and I don't believe it's coming to any other console, but the trailer looks great. It looks like a lot of fun. Great menus, great design looking. The character models are great. I'm excited to jump into it again. But
check it out.
Rounding it all off, John, from electronicarts.com, the force is strong with EA. Says at EA right now, we have multiple studios building a variety of great Star Wars games spanning different genres. We are all united by our team's passion for Star Wars, stories, characters, and adventures. Today I'm thrilled to announce that EA and the talented team at Respawn Entertainment have expanded our relationship to include the development of an all-new third-person action-adventure game set in the Star Wars universe. They join other great studios, Visceral Games, DICE, Capital Games, BioWare, Motive, and more, who are all working on Star Wars projects. If you're interested in joining us in this adventure, you can visit our careers page, yada, 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 yada. Lots of games working on, lots of studios working on a lot of Star Wars.
Heck yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I love Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
In case you didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, tell me more. No, really, tell me more.
About Star Wars?
Yeah.
It's great. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Dude,
oh, yeah, I have.
It's so good.
Basically, I wanted to ask you, though, so they're working on a third-person action game. Right now, we have the team at Visceral with Amy Hennig, who did the Uncharted games, doing some sort of Star Wars game. I don't think it's going to be like a horror-ish game like Dead Space, but
it'd be cool.
It would be cool. What's the next game you want to see from Star Wars? Like, do you want to see another Battlefield?
I want to see an RPG.
You want to see an RPG? Okay, because I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be? Do you like an Old Republic kind of thing?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett RPG? What if it was a bounty hunter RPG where you could be a Mandalorian?
Well, did you ever play Jango Fett Bounty Hunter?
I believe it was for the GameCube, right?
Yeah, something like that with Boba or another bounty hunter I think would be pretty fun.
Okay.
So I don't want another Battlefront. I want something that I could play where I don't have to be online to fight other people. True. I want something that has a good story and a good campaign, as well as possibly some fun multiplayer opportunities. And that doesn't mean you have to be a Jedi. No. I think the point of expanding the Star Wars universe that they're doing with the movies is showing that there's more out there than the Skywalker family and Jedi. So I'm really excited about that, just like Rogue One.
And I think if John Boyega hasn't said it enough times, we need a good story in our games, because obviously Battlefront was lacking in that department.
No story.
No, it was just multiplayer, and I'm tired of it. Although I did log on yesterday to get my 4,444 credits for May the 4th.
Oh, I forgot to do that.
Oh, John. Oh, what are we going to do with you? So, ladies and gentlemen, right there we have a little bit of a skip. We talked in there about how we were both so tired.
For 2 hours.
We should both just take 5-hour energy shots before we do the show because we weren't recording any of that. John, punch me in the face. So, we got some Marvel news to talk about, and then we're going to talk about Civil War. We're going to do a pre-show really quick, and I think we're just going to summarize our thoughts.
Let's do it.
We can dive into the bigger details when we get to the movie. Mm-hmm. But basically from Variety.com, it talks about how Captain America Civil War has set the Fandango record for advanced ticket sales for superhero title. It says that the tentpole will open Friday in the U.S. with forecasts of a launch in the $200 million range. The superhero tale topped $200 million in its opening weekend in 63 international markets last weekend. It looks like it's going to beat out Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Avengers Age of Ultron, and The Avengers. So this is a big deal. The movie's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah. It's going to bury BVS. Just bury it.
Yeah.
We're going to forget that movie even came out.
And I mean, like we were joking about it earlier, but that's a truth, man. It's like, yep. And that was what we thought was a problem, is that it didn't have the lasting effect.
Yeah.
And
hopefully Suicide Squad has that redemption quality to it.
I think so too. And people were talking about the Avengers for years afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
I do feel like Batman v Superman is going to fall by the wayside. And it is interesting that 2016 is the year of the superhero battle movies. And it's just a shame knowing that so clearly that one of them is going to succeed and the other is not failing, because it made money. It broke even. But I think Civil War is going to make way more money in the long run.
They had the two best comic book characters in the same movie, and it didn't pan out the way they wanted to. It's just disappointing.
It is disappointing, and because I think Batman v Superman is a cooler idea than Civil War. Civil War is just Batman v Superman is two giants fighting. Civil War is two teams having a skirmish,
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, and that's my whole thing, is that predictions for the movie. We have one big prediction that we'll get to at the very end, but I still think that it's going to be, I'm going to enjoy it a lot, because I've liked pretty much every Marvel movie. I can't think of one that I've really disliked. At least
Iron Man 2.
From Iron Man. Yeah, Iron Man 2 is bad. It's still entertaining, but
Thor Dark World's pretty...
I actually like Thor Dark World.
I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I like Loki in that movie.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But I still think that Civil War is going to play it too safe, and I think that that's a problem, and I think that will inevitably decide my ranking of this movie when we come back and we do our ranking of all the Marvel movies, and if this cracks your top 5 or top 10, I really think that if they play it safe, they stick to the formula, if they flip the script, end the fight early so they can fight the bigger foe, and it's
I don't think there is a bigger foe.
Yeah. And I mean, so what do you think? Do you think they're going to play it safe, or do you think they're going to actually take a bigger risk with Civil War?
I think they should take a bigger risk.
Oh, well, that's a different question entirely.
I do think they will. I think they're going to stay relatively true to the book. And spoilers, if you don't know, Cap dies for a little while at the end of the book. Because, everybody comes back. It's comics.
but he's like, that was the end of his storyline in that, like, right?
Yes,
he doesn't get resurrected.
That's how the story ends, yeah. Because eventually him and Tony fight. They're fighting for the whole thing and stuff like that. And they're fighting over Spider-Man, Spider-Man starts on Iron Man's side, but he ends on Cap's side and stuff like that. And by the end, they eventually realize all the destruction that they've caused from fighting, that they're completely doing exactly what they were fighting about, which is they're wrecking cities and they're, ruining ordinary people's lives and stuff like that. So eventually Cap surrenders. And he's like, this is just exactly what I didn't want. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he surrenders, and then they take him to a S.H.I.E.L.D. prison to await trials for, his acts of, vigilantism, if you will.
I can see that kind of rounding out the third quarter of this movie, is the destruction aspect. And I think that, Tom Holland's getting praised a lot for his Spider-Man. I think it would be a smart move to have him vacillate between the two teams.
Oh, I think he will.
Yeah. He's definitely starting off on Tony, though.
I think so.
Okay. Under Ruse. He jumps in the truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's on Tony's side. He
So-
might not even switch.
Yeah.
They might just merge, honestly. I don't know.
Be
But the story ends with Crossbones getting able to infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D. because there's a mole in S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent, I think it's Agent Carter or something like that.
Agent Carter's the mole?
Not that Agent Carter. There's
Oh,
a different
okay.
Agent Carter. Yeah.
That threw me for a loop.
Yeah, I know. That'd be crazy,
That'd be
right?
nuts.
This old lady lets in Crossbones and kills Captain America.
But the whole time she's just rolling through her,
So yeah,
her
he
bed.
he comes in and he assassinates Cap
Yeah.
in the cell. And then the book ends with Tony sitting next to Cap's body laid out on a table with the shield over it. And he's just kind of like, he has his head buried in his hands and stuff. So it'll be good. I think they should go that route. I really do. And then if they are going to bring him back like they should, or if they decide to, like in the book, give the mantle to Bucky, having that play into Infinity War would be so baller.
Yeah, I'm gonna make I'm gonna make it clear. Like, I do think that they need to take risks, and I think that is this is a great place for it. We've had 3 Captain America movies, and he's been in 2 Avengers movies.
There's too much ex machina going on in these movies.
Yeah,
Way too much.
there always is, and there's always revival. Like the Phil Coulson thing really bothered me when they brought him back on Shield.
Yeah, they made that sacrifice worthless.
And it's not that that's not necessarily the same, because when you watch Avengers 1, his death still has weight, but it's tarnished a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, spoilers, but at the end of Thor: The Dark World, when Loki gives his life for Thor, I thought that was really moving and emotional.
Seemingly.
And then he's alive at the end. And I was like, what the hell? What are you doing?
It's a good thing he's alive, though.
I know that's a good thing that Loki's alive, but because I want him in more movies. But and then
Thor
they do
Ragnarok's
the
coming,
same.
baby.
Yeah, let's see. Then they do the same thing in Winter Soldier, which I love. Winter Soldier, one of my favorite Marvel
They
movies.
should have actually killed.
They should have killed
Fury.
Nick Fury. Like, the only reason he's alive is because Samuel L. Jackson sells tickets.
And they want him in all the Avengers
That's
movies.
the only reason
Yeah.
he's still alive, and it would have made that
It's
movie so much more
ridiculous.
poignant when he
He got
died.
shot with the slug.
and he was
survived.
in a car crash.
Yeah,
And,
like, what?
unbelievable. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. That really broke my immersion of the movie, and that's my worry about this. So let's get to our final bet, right?
The Star Wars bet is what it's going to be called.
Just call every bet the Star Wars
If
bet.
it's about a character,
Okay.
if any bet that we make about a movie, we're just going to call it the Star Wars bet.
So
So for The Force Awakens, I bet Zach that Rey was going to be revealed to be Han and Leia's child, and she wasn't, so I lost the bet. And
Specifically,
the
the bet, though, was within the parameters of The Force
of the
Awakens.
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So the loser has to buy the other guy a drink. So I lost that bet. I think I'm going to win this bet, though. I think Steve Rogers will be dead, in quotations, at the end of this movie.
And I think that he might be shot, he might be brutally injured, but Captain America Steve Rogers is not dead by the end of this movie. I do think that there will be a scene where he's giving a speech at a podium, or he's addressing his troops and addressing the nation or something like that, and he gets JFK'd, and it's going to be a big deal for 5 minutes. And then that's the thing, is that, like, Batman v Superman and Civil War were being made at the same time. And
So you think it's going to be like BVS, where at the end you see the dirt
do.
rise? Okay,
I
you'll
do.
see his finger twitch.
I do. I
Yeah.
think you'll see his finger twitch, his eyes open, or you'll see, like, the pulse monitor, or you'll see someone, like, make a callback, or, like, his silhouette somewhere where it's like he faked his death, or, like, they managed to get him out in time. But I guarantee you they're not going to kill him. They're not going to kill him because they need him for Infinity War. And I'm not saying that they need Steve Rogers. I'm just saying that they need Chris Evans. And that's why I'm not as excited about this
He'll
movie
be
as I am.
there. He's just not. He's going to have to come back from the dead first.
It's so cheap, though.
Hit Justice League and Avengers Infinity War, I think, are going to be like the same movie.
And that's my
It's
thing.
going to
with
be
this.
Thanos and Darkseid. It's going to be 2 teams fighting a large space entity. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Oh,
Smack it, stop.
yeah. I mean, I just think that what I was saying before is that Batman and Superman was being made at the same time as Civil War. And so unless they had people talking to each other, and it's like Hollywood, so everyone knows what everybody else is doing. If a Western's being made, a bunch of people are going to start making Westerns because that's what's going to be popular. And when one movie studio is making a superhero movie where they fight, the other studio is going to make a superhero movie where they fight. And I think that Superman dying in the end of Batman v Superman was totally unearned. It was a good, well-directed scene, but I didn't care enough about Superman in Batman v Superman for him to die.
And I didn't feel like Batman and Superman had a strong enough relationship for Batman to be sad about it.
Because he's one of his mom. I'm one of your son's friends. Or what does he say to Martha?
I'm friends with your
I'm
son.
friends with your son,
Martha.
And
God,
I think that I do think that we're nearing the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'll end on this point that they do have to start taking risks, or else people are going to stop caring, because people will still go to see these movies, but they're not going to be regarded as, these are masterpiece blockbusters, right? They're not The Revenant good, or they're not Grand Budapest quality of writing,
or even The Dark Knight.
Yeah, sure, but they are masters at making entertaining movies. And I think that people are going to start being less entertained if they start to feel the weight of the formula of Marvel movies. And, I'm excited about Civil War, and I get more excited as we get closer to seeing the movie, but man, do I hope that they surprise me, because the worst thing about this movie is going to be if I leave and I predicted the whole thing.
Yep.
But John, we're going to cut it off here at 44 minutes and 5 seconds, and we're going to go see freaking Civil War.
And we'll come back to you.
You excited?
Yep.
All right.
What time zone is this?
Come on. Come on.
Captain America.
Mr. Lang?
It's an honor. I'm shaking your hand too long. Wow, this is awesome.
Captain America. I know you too. You're great.
Jeez. Look, I want to say, I know you know a lot of super people, so thanks for thanking of me.
Hey, man. What's up, Tic Tac?
Good to see you. Look, what happened last time?
It was a great audition, but it'll never happen again.
They tell you what we're up against?
Something about some psycho assassins?
We're outside the law on this one. So if you come with us, you're a wanted man.
Yeah, well, what else is new?
And welcome back to Radiovania episode number 15.
Yeah.
This is your Captain America Civil War post discussion. John, last night we went on an adventure. First of all,
yeah,
we went to our classic theater, the Regal in Mason. It was great theater. So many years. We get in there, and all of a sudden, they renovated the entire, and now they put like $8 million into it, and Regal is doing this globally apparently because of the reaction of various Cinebistros and luxury theaters. So now they have reclining seats, reserve tickets, but we didn't get reserved seats. Fandango decided to be a bitch, and we got random seating, and we got the front row seats. So I made these guys go to 2 towns over to go see it on a 2D screen.
Wasn't that far away though? But we gave our money to AMC instead.
I just think I personally can't do front row at movies. I just don't understand how anybody can do that.
Have you ever seen 42, the movie about Jackie Robinson with Harrison Ford?
I wanted to.
Okay, went and saw that, showed up at the theater a little late. We had a large group, so we had to sit in the very front row, and I watched the movie the whole time, and Harrison Ford's head looked like one of the guys from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where he had like an elongated cranium, and I was like, this movie is terrible. But it wasn't the movie. It was just because of the way I was looking at it.
But anyway, we saw the movie, and we got some thoughts on it. First off, right off the bat, I think somebody owes me a drink.
Yeah. So I'll get one someday.
Spoiler alert for the entirety of Captain America Civil War. We're going to be discussing everything from the beginning to the end. But before we do that...
So if you haven't seen it, please don't ruin it.
Yeah, we won't. But before we jump into spoilers, non-spoiler impressions really quick, sentence or two. Did you like it? What do you think?
I liked it a lot. It was a very good movie. It was a very good Marvel movie. I think it might be in the top 5 MCU films. I would have to go through, and sometime we're actually going to go through and rank.
On this episode, we will.
Oh, we are.
On this episode, we're going to talk about our top 5.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And for me, it was fine. I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining. I was laughing consistently throughout. I was mostly enthralled with the plot and the dialogue. I thought the addition of the 3 new characters was really handled well, and the Russo brothers know how to direct a movie where everyone gets enough screen time, and I think that is this movie's biggest pro, being its ensemble cast, and they're all handled really well. Let's jump into spoiler territory here. Shut off the thing if you'll pause it, go see the movie, and then unpause it. Right now, Captain America Civil War has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes with an average rating of 7.7 out of 10. Out of 252 reviews, there are 232 fresh and 20 rotten. And, do you agree with a 92%?
I don't agree with the 92%. I do think it deserves a fresh rating, but I don't work for Rotten Tomatoes.
What is the fresh rating? Do we know? When does it go from rotten to fresh?
I'm pretty sure it's like 60%.
60%? So a D or an F?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you get a certain amount of fresh tomatoes, then it becomes certified fresh, which is what this movie is, where it's in the 92 percentile.
Okay.
I wouldn't give it a 92. I think this is an 8 out of a 10 movie.
Yeah, I'd settle around
maybe
an 8.
even 8.5.
8.5.
It's a very entertaining film.
It's long.
It's long. It is long. I do think it starts out a little slow, but it's a lot of exposition that is necessary for the back half of the movie. Some of the action in this movie, I think, is the best superhero action ever.
It's handled really well.
The airport fight scene between Team Cap and Team Iron Man is fantastic, through and through. That is a beautifully choreographed set fight, and it's just, I would pay again to just see that part.
It's that scene is definitely handled really well. It's funny because you would assume that would be the climax, but it's just like and forgive me ahead of time, but I'm going to be bringing up Batman v Superman a lot because I really do think that Civil War did everything that Batman and Superman tried to do but failed.
Yeah.
You know, they made the battle between Team Cap and Team Iron Man is literally 15 minutes long.
It's long.
It's a long battle,
yeah.
And I feel like the Batman-Superman fight was 5 minutes max.
Yes, yeah.
And that's not to disparage the fight, because I do think that the Batman-Superman fight was really cool and visceral, and it was entertaining, but you knew what was going to happen, so it devalued the whole thing.
Yeah.
I did kind of feel like there was some tension, wondering what was going to happen at the end of the fight, who was going to be left behind, who was going to get on the ship, and so you obviously knew that it was going to be at least Captain Bucky, because they had to fight Iron Man in the end, but I did think that the movie is damn entertaining, and I had so much fun watching it. Mm-hmm. Still, my biggest problem with the movie, and why I wouldn't give it a 92%, I'd probably settle around the 8.5 range for entertainment, is because I've checked out of the Marvel Universe in terms of thinking these are, groundbreaking films. They're just not going to be. And that's my worry going forward, is that Guardians 2 is going to be a lot of fun, and so that doesn't matter. That can be a standalone story. Doctor Strange is an origin story, so that really can't push any boundaries. And then what's up after that? What's next year?
So up next,
Spider-Man?
I don't think, is that next year? Homecoming?
Let's go to the list.
Double check that. I know Doctor Strange is next. And then we have Guardians Volume 2.
Doctor Strange in 2016, Guardians Volume 2 in
Thor.
2017, Thor in 2017, Black Panther 2018, and then Infinity War Part 1 and 2 2018 and 19.
I did not know that they put Infinity War in 2018 now.
Yeah, so
Justice League is in 2017, so that means that Avengers and Justice League will no longer come out in the same year, which is probably
a good thing.
For the best. I think DC's kind of like praising God right now because BVS just got rocked. Because the same movie came out a couple months later, done better.
Yep. So Doctor Strange, no risks. Guardians of the Galaxy, no risks. But that doesn't matter because it's a standalone franchise, basically. I mean, they haven't really had many ties except for Thanos. Thor Ragnarok, there's room in there for some stuff to go down, but I still don't think it's going to...
Because Bruce Banner is supposed to be in that movie, so
Yeah.
we'll see how that plays into it.
And I do think...
Or at least rumored.
Ragnarok is the movie that's going to set up Infinity War.
Yeah, that makes sense,
yeah.
And Kate Blanchett's in it, man.
Is she in Ragnarok? Any word on who she's playing?
Oh, what's her name? She's I want to say, like, Hesia? It's a Norse goddess.
Okay.
She's like a
What does she do?
She's just really powerful. I have no idea. So
Like Galadriel type power?
yeah, like, you know, like when in Fellowship of the Ring, when she like morphs into evil Galadriel for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's her in Thor. So come on.
You would have a queen!
Yeah, so it's gonna be like that, which I'm really excited for. Plus, you know, we'll have Loki in that movie, Thor, Natalie Portman,
Sure.
possibly Bruce Banner. I want a Hulk Bruce Banner fight again, and I think that will happen in that movie.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So, going off the cast, Civil War cast, how did you like Chris Evans in the movie as Captain America? The main character, right? Because the movie does revolve around Captain.
He is
First character on screen, last character to be shown. You
He's
know?
as good as he always is. I think he's the best incarnation of Captain America that they've ever had. He's good.
What do you think about people saying he's channeling a little bit of the Superman vibe, kind of one dimensional?
I haven't really seen a whole lot of that, but I think Cap's kind of supposed to be that way. You know, he's got a one-track mind, and it's, you know, righteousness and stuff like that, which is kind of how Superman is. So I don't really have a problem with it.
No, I think that he was portrayed well.
I think the best part about this movie is how he stayed with his motives the entire way through. You know, that causes a huge rift between him and Tony. But that's kind of how he's always been. So.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand the thing about him being one dimensional. I relate to Captain America more than I do to Superman in BVS. Mm-hmm. He does have a righteous cause, right? And the movie does a great job of giving the sense of gray area, which I really appreciate. I think the best scene in the whole movie is the Sokovia Accords and how that all goes down. Not fight scene, right? Because the Spider-Man introduction in the fight scene with Giant Man, that's a fabulous fight scene, but there's not much plot going on there. Mm-hmm. So in terms of story development, I really like the Sokovia Accords, that whole scene with the bombing, with the introduction of Black Panther. I just thought that was such a great, that carried a lot of weight.
That reminds you a lot of
the courtroom scene. Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing, man, is that this movie is pretty much, if you think about it, beat for beat Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
You have the heroes in the beginning. They're kind of separate but equal. You got the playboy billionaire that's, rich and hanging out, and then all of a sudden,
retired.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden there's this big, event that brings everyone together, and they have to try to fight, but then there's disagreements, and it's pretty much Batman v Superman in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But so other actors here, we got Robert Downey. How was he, Tony?
Fantastic, as always.
Always great. Scarlett Johansson.
She was good.
Yeah, she was fine.
I like Black Widow a lot. I liked Winter Soldier a lot because she was in a decent chunk of the movie as kind of like the supporting role to Cap.
And she and Captain America have a great rapport.
I like it a lot, but I was a little disappointed that she had to take kind of a back seat for this movie so that they can make room for more Tony.
Sure. Her role in the airport fight was really great, though.
It is
I like that
yes,
she took down Vision, and I thought that was a great moment.
I liked how, and one of my favorite parts is when her and Hawkeye are fighting at the airport, and she's like, "We're still friends, right?"
Depends on how hard you hit me.
It's like, depends on how hard you hit me. That's so funny.
Sebastian Stan is Bucky Barnes.
He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
That guy's good.
I thought that the torture scene at the very beginning, was a little cheesy on his part. I thought his acting was a little weird because you would assume that's not how someone would actually act if they were being electroshocked in the face.
You mean brainwashed when they're brainwashing him?
Yeah, but they've got that thing right there, and it looks like they're shocking him or something like that.
Yeah, they're brainwashing
and he's
him.
kind of twitching his face, and I was just kind of I don't know if I buy this. His acting is a little weak.
He's good, though.
But everything else, I love I think an underrated fight scene in the movie is the hallway scene in the stairwell scene.
Crazy.
The verticality of that fight and Cap saving people as Bucky is just beating the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. That was very reminiscent of the elevator scene from
This is
Winter
through and
Soldier.
through a fantastic action movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When I was watching it, it reminded me of a combination between Captain America and The Bourne Identity.
Okay, I can see that.
So,
Anthony Mackie as the Falcon. I actually liked him a lot in this movie.
He's good. Yeah,
I thought
he's as good, if not better, than he is in Winter Soldier.
I think he's definitely improved. I like the relationship.
He has a lot better
with
one-liners
Bucky.
in this movie.
I like the love-hate relationship he has with Bucky. Like, he's trying to save him, but they still kind of hate each other. Like, the scene with them in the car is just brilliant, where he's like, "Can you move your seat up?" He's like, "No."
It's so funny. And then when Spider-Man webs them together.
Yeah, it was great.
You couldn't have done that earlier.
I hate you.
I hate you.
Don Cheadle is James Rhodes / War Machine.
Good to see Rhodey back in it.
Disappointed in how they handled his character at the end there with the fake death and the rehabilitation.
Now he's paralyzed. So.
Well, but now he's got Iron Man legs, so he can do whatever. He's not actually
paralyzed.
paralyzed.
Just throw him in the suit. He's fine.
Yeah.
But.
Jeremy Renner makes an appearance as Clint Barton, and I actually did not... totally forgot that he was in this movie until he showed up. Like, I remember that he's in the scene in the trailer, but that was like one character that I totally forgot was in it until he waves away the knife or whatever.
I think it's funny that he's in retirement. I'm wondering if he's gonna... Because you would assume he'd be in Infinity War.
He has to be. He's one of the people that has to die.
Really?
Infinity War is going to be a bloodbath. If they don't kill like 4 or 5 characters, it's going to be worthless.
I don't even think they can bring him into the fight, though.
You don't think
he
so?
He shoots people with a bow and arrow. Against a space entity, I just can't imagine how that would go down. Same with Black Widow. Like, as much as I like Black Widow, I don't know how her and Barton are supposed to have a role in that fight.
Thanos will chuck something at him, and they'll be like watching from a distance,
and they'll like dodge, unless like he has like an army and they have a huge fight.
I think that's how it has to be.
I could see that
he's
going
have
down.
An army of people, or he's gonna have what's not Gamora, the other girl, Nebula. He might have Nebula show up and be one of his like professional assassins.
Nebula versus Black Widow would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be a cool fight.
Yeah. Nebula or Gamora versus Black Widow is what I would pay to see.
Chadwick Boseman as, how do you pronounce his name? T'Challa? T'Challa. Black Panther.
So good.
Really good.
So good.
Not expecting him to be that good. Not expecting to like him that much.
Yeah, I didn't have high expectations, but I had high hopes, and they nailed it.
They essentially gave us his origin story in 15 minutes, and it was more. And it was poignant though, and I thought that the death of his father and the bombing scene was really well done and well shot and acted, and his whole demeanor, like he stands tall, he's very firm, he's professional with the way he speaks, like he is a politician. And I didn't know anything about this character really before going in, and I was super impressed.
Yeah, the Black Panther mantle being passed down from generation to generation. It's cool. I am looking forward to his solo movie.
Yeah, me too. I did think his tease was a little
stupid.
It was a little anticlimactic.
But what I did like, and I was talking to Kyle Kemp on the way back last night, is whenever he would like show up, I don't know what the musical instrument's called, but it's like some type of like horn thing.
The vuvuzela from Uncharted 2?
Yes! And then it'd be like, and he'd like show up, and I was just like, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, his soundtrack's gonna be cool.
Yeah. A lot of drums. It's gonna be like Tarzan.
Paul Bettany comes back as Vision, and Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff. How'd you feel about their kind of dynamic in the movie?
That's a comic book relationship, so I was glad that they built upon that. Vision's cool.
He's cool.
He's
too much of an.
He's a robot.
Yeah, but he's too much of an ex machina for me. You know.
Yeah.
Like he's the same thing with Scarlet Witch, where it's like they could end the fight in 5 seconds. So you have to find a way to keep.
She definitely has a big card to play coming forward, because she is very powerful.
Yeah, that scene where she basically just incapacitates Vision and pushes him to the center of the earth.
That was sweet.
It was cool, but I was like, man, why don't you just do that with everyone? With every bad guy. But Paul Rudd comes back as Scott Lang.
A great cameo.
Awesome.
I like Ant-Man a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
The movie's a fun movie. I like Paul Rudd as an actor, and I like him a lot as Scott Lang. His role in this movie was to be cool and to be funny, and he did that.
I didn't like the Ant-Man movie as much as I thought I would, but I liked Ant-Man more than I thought I would.
Yes.
So the movie was fine, but he was great. And, it was great to see him back. He has, some great lines, and I do think that the Giant Man is the best moment of this movie, when he gets big and then the fight is them running around and he's throwing cars and they do the Empire Strikes Back reference. It was just brilliant. It was a really well put together scene. Then some bonus characters here. We got Frank Grillo as Brock Rumlow. How'd you feel about his opening scene?
It's fine.
It was fine. I thought that he would be used more, honestly.
I thought so too. Well, you gotta understand is I thought that they were gonna do Captain dying.
Our bet. Yeah,
he plays a role in that in the comics. So when he died at the beginning, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna win this bet. Because also another person, when I was talking about Agent Carter, who plays a role in it, it's Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
The blonde.
Emily Van Camp.
And she clearly has a thing for Cap. So they just didn't do that, which is fine. The movie's good. It's good to differentiate from the book. But after those two things happened, I was like, yeah, I think I lost this bet.
Yeah. A couple more people to bring up real quick. Daniel Bruhl as Baron Zemo.
That was interesting. I didn't expect him to be in the movie.
I thought his character was cool. A lot of people had problems with the fact that he really didn't, he didn't have a super huge agenda. But I actually thought that was really interesting to have just a character that was, because I brought it the comparison. Obviously, Baron Zemo v. Lex Luthor Jr. in BVS, and it's one of them is kind of deranged. The other one is really cold and calculated. And I think Baron Zemo works better,
I would agree.
as an antagonist.
I don't like him as a villain though. I think it's still another lame MCU villain.
He is kind of lame. At least the actor is
not.
good.
It's
I like
not,
Daniel
and it's not
Bruhl.
because I like the motive. Because I think that the movie serves better as making one team split and fight each other.
Sure.
I think that should have been it. Because I think they did a good job with that. Whereas like BVS was like teasing a huge fight, and then it turns out they have to fight a larger villain. At least this larger villain, overarching villain, doesn't have powers. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like a guy pulling the strings.
Yeah, and I thought that was really well. I thought the strings that he pulled were well done, and the scene with the interrogation with Winter Soldier, where he's in the chamber and he cuts the power, I thought was really well executed. And his ending scene, which did get glossed over, I think that says a lot about Black Panther's character that he stopped him before he got to kill himself. It's like, we're not done with you yet. So I thought that was really well done because it's easy to have the way out where the bad guy kills himself and it's just like depressing.
Zemo's been around for a while as a Marvel villain. So
he's got a weirder look in the comics though, right?
Yeah,
he has a costume and stuff.
Yeah, he'll have more to play, I think.
Okay.
Well. I think he'll make a resurface.
And lastly, Tom Holland as Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Maybe the best part about Captain America Civil War.
It's my favorite part of Captain America Civil War.
James Gunn was right.
He's good.
He's really good.
Really good.
Can't say whether or not he's my favorite right now just because I haven't seen him interact with the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
Right now he's just interacted with the MCU. And, that's the same difference. But Spider-Man is his best when he's around his friends. He's being kooky with these chums in Queens. And, I really like the interactions that he has. That's the first thing that pops in my head is, I'm from Queens. Manhattan, or what do you say? Brooklyn. Yeah. And then they walk away from each other. He's just a likable guy.
I think he's the definitive Spider-Man.
Already? You're saying that already?
I love Tobey Maguire, but this kid is straight out of a comic page Spider-Man. The way that he fights and the way that he talks to people while he's fighting and the stuff that he talks about. He's perfectly awkward. He's such a geek. But you know what I mean? He's very good. I'm glad that this year we have the definitive Spider-Man in one movie and a definitive Batman in the other. I think it's really cool because those are two of my favorite superheroes.
Yeah, I agree. Spider-Man always hit me really hard, and I wanted to like The Amazing Spider-Man more than I did. I still do stand by the fact that Andrew Garfield played a good Spider-Man. Peter Parker, not as much. But I do think that a lot of the negativity of that movie was from the writing and the direction. I just thought that they were trying to do something that they shouldn't have. They made it a little too modern, maybe, a little too trendy. I don't know. Those are odd movies. They're not very good, but I wanted to like them more than I did. And if there's anything coming off of Civil War, man, I am pumped for the next Spider-Man movie.
Homecoming.
Even though that title is still garbage, I'm looking forward to seeing this kid for a whole movie. My one criticism or worry, though, is let's see how he does in a movie where he doesn't get to interact with the Avengers, Because Tony Stark will be in Homecoming, but it's not confirmed how much of the movie or in what parts or to what.
It really
degree.
Is going to depend on the villain, I think.
And who do you think they're going to go with?
I don't think it'll be the Green Goblin. I think Norman Osborn will be in the movie, and then he'll make a surface in a sequel. But then again, if you want to nail it and get it right the first time so that you can have a sequel, I think you kind of have to use the Green Goblin.
I think it's smart. Every
You gotta
Spider-Man
have.
movie's
I mean, like
had
I know we've
Norman
seen them
Osborn.
before, but you gotta have Norman or you gotta have Doc Ock to get it going.
Well,
because those are the two biggest Spider-Man villains besides maybe Venom. But you can't. I don't think you should lead off with Venom. Not at all.
I do think that in Homecoming we're going to get to see Spider-Man, of course.
Yeah.
We're going to get to see Mary Jane Watson or
Gwen.
And I think it would be smarter to do Mary Jane since we just came off of Gwen.
Yeah.
I do think, I mean, you're going to see Harry
I
Osborn.
think there could be both actually.
Yeah,
Gwen
I think
and
so.
Mary Jane. Yeah.
have that inner dynamic to play.
The triangle.
I did like that in Spider-Man 3, how, you know, she was a photographer,
Yeah, but
he's hanging out with Mary Jane. It's not the same thing.
Their
I
Gwen
know.
wasn't good.
I know.
I like that actress a lot, but
Who is the Gwen Stacy in the...
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard, that's right.
And
yeah.
she's fantastic. I
Okay.
like that actress a lot, but it was a bad...
She's no Emma Stone?
No. Well, it's not that. It's just that was a bad Gwen Stacy. It's a bad Eddie Brock. It was a lot of bad things, but that movie's funny.
Spider-Man 3 is excellent.
It saves it.
Spider-Man 3 is an A movie, man. It's one of those things
Guest. We just go
get some food. So yeah, I got a news article here from Uprocks on the 5th, May 4th. It says, the Russo brothers confirmed that Avengers Infinity War 1 and 2 will be retitled. Directors Joe and Anthony Russo are currently on a victory lap, you might say, after the incredible run of Captain America Civil War reviews through New York City this week. Early on Wednesday, I met them at the Midtown Hotel to talk about the new film. During this discussion, Joe dropped a nifty piece of information about their next films, Part 1 in 2018 and Part 2 in 2019. Quote, the movies are two very different movies, answered Joe Russo, and he said, the interviewer asked if it's misleading having them labeled as Part 1 and Part 2, and he said it is misleading, Anthony Russo said. He said, Joe said, quote, the intention is we will change it. We just haven't come up with the titles yet, but yes, we will change it.
Interesting.
So, coming off of Civil War, looking at Infinity War Part 2, we've got Doctor Strange, Guardians, Thor, Black Panther, and then Infinity War in 2018 and 2019. Coming as a comic book fan, do you have any idea of what they might name the two parts?
I think one could be an Infinity Gauntlet title, which would take off of the story.
Okay.
Otherwise, no, I don't.
Okay.
I think that's interesting.
I do think it's interesting.
It makes more sense that they might try to do two solo films that can be, so then there would be 4 Avengers movies, kind of, that could stand alone.
I think calling it Part 1 and Part 2 immediately brings up memories of Insurgents and The Hunger Games and
Harry Potter,
and people are just like, there's going to be 2 Avengers movies in 2 years. Like, do we really need this? I think calling them separate movies is a smart way to sort of turn the dial down, but I mean, we're still getting 2 Avengers
I do think
movies.
it's going to be one overarching conflict that's
sure.
split
And it's
going to
be a
movies.
huge cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Like a character death.
Ooh. They're not going to do it.
If they don't do it, man, I'm going to be so disappointed
They're
with
not
Infinity War. They have to start this is like the Game of Thrones, man, except in reverse. Is that
opposite
Marvel
Game
won't
of
kill
Thrones.
people and Game of Thrones is killing too many people and they need to swap places.
Seriously.
So I got some final questions for you.
Let's do it.
Like you said earlier, where it sits right now, does Civil War crack your Marvel top 5, and what's in your Marvel top 5? All right, so in my top 5, I would have the Avengers, I'd have Winter Soldier, I'd have Iron Man, Guardians of the Galaxy, and for the longest time I would think about tossing in the Incredible Hulk.
With Ed Norton?
Yeah, with Ed Norton.
It's a good movie.
If the Spider-Man movies were classified, I would say Spider-Man 2, but
They're not.
They're
Because
not.
I would have X-Men in mind.
Yeah.
They're not.
So, I really do think that this is going to crack my top 5.
Okay.
I think it's number 5, though. I think it is my least favorite of my favorite MCU movies. I just had to think about it real quick. I couldn't find the list. I couldn't think about it straight. And I kind of have to see the posters to get it in my mindset.
Yeah.
I thought about putting Thor in there, too.
See, because that was in my top 5, but it just got booted last night.
Because of Civil War.
Yeah, because Civil War, I have mine in order, actually. Guardians, 1.
Number 1.
Iron Man, 1.
Number 2.
Winter Soldier.
Number 3.
The first Avengers movie.
Number 4.
And then Civil War.
Number 5.
It was Thor, the original Thor, and then it just got booted last night because Spider-Man was in this movie.
Yeah.
And Black Panther.
I might do the same order except for I'd put Avengers over Guardians. I go Avengers, Guardians, Winter Soldier,
I think Guardians.
Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Civil War.
I think Guardians is one of the best movies ever.
See, here's my thing, though, is that if
And
we're
that's
judging,
a good sci-fi movie, not even a superhero movie.
Sure. If we're judging within the realms of the MCU, though, I do think that Avengers 1 was an experience.
It's a pinnacle.
It was a huge. It was the moment we were all waiting for.
Definitely.
If you separate the movies, if you just say rank these movies, I might throw Guardians in my personal top 20. But I don't know if I'd put Avengers up there because it's not a great movie, but it was an experience, and that's why it's my favorite MCU movie.
Sure.
Guardians stands alone totally, but in terms of the MCU, I would put Avengers 1 as the top of that pack. Last question before we sign off is, how does Captain America Civil War affect the next Marvel movies?
It doesn't. I don't think anything happened in this movie.
Nope. Not really.
This movie is an entertaining juggernaut. But the conflict that starts out at the beginning of the movie is completely resolved, and the inner conflict between the characters is completely resolved with the love letter sent from Cap to Iron Man.
I think we were being a little too harsh.
There's no repercussions, though.
The only repercussion is the government influence, because the Sokovia Accords are still there.
Yeah, that's true.
The UN is still upset with the Avengers, and Captain America just busted him out of prison.
He's going to be an outlaw.
Yeah, so now we go into Doctor Strange, not going to deal with it. So yeah, going into Infinity War Part 1, that's how it's all going to start, is that the Avengers are they're going to be cast out, no one wants them, and then Thanos comes and it's like, we need them, come back!
Yeah, well, does Spider-Man Homecoming come out before Avengers, the next one? Because Tony's going to be in that, so they got to bring that into play somehow.
July 6, 2017.
So yeah, interesting.
That's next year.
Wow.
That's
They
crazy.
haven't even started filming.
No.
They haven't even gotten a villain yet. That's going to get pushed back. It has to be.
Yeah, there's no way that's not delayed. That's a post-Comic-Con announcement.
That's a little over a year.
June or July's Comic-Con. They'll announce in end of July or August that Spider-Man's pushed back to either 2018 or it'll go up against... that will put that in the place of Infinity War. Or no, they can't do that. If it's... Right now it's slated for July of 2017. I think it could get pushed into 2018, like the very beginning of the year.
Before Infinity War? That's fine. Like a Deadpool release time frame?
Like February.
February,
March.
Yeah. I liked that this year. Like we had Deadpool, BVS, and now we have Civil War, X-Men.
Yeah, this has been a great year for comic book movies, and we still have Doctor Strange, which that trailer looks great. I'm still convinced that good old Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be spot on.
So here's a quick question. Based on what you have seen and what you think and what we know is coming, what do you think the best comic book movie is going to be this year? Because there's like 6
this year.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus!
So you have
God Almighty.
Deadpool, BVS, Civil War, X-Men Apocalypse, Suicide Squad, Doctor Strange. Which is going to be the best?
Right now, it's a toss-up between Civil War. I like Deadpool a lot, but it didn't really feel like a superhero movie, you know.
But it's a comic book movie.
Comic book movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I have high hopes for Suicide Squad, although I'm nervous about it. Mm-hmm. Probably Civil War, honestly.
Yeah.
Civil War is probably going to be the most entertained I'll be in a comic book movie all years. Suicide Squad has a chance to be the best film, but I doubt it. I think that movie's going to settle. If I had to guess right now, if I was a betting man, that movie's going to land in Rotten Tomatoes around the 70s. I think it'll be like a 70, 75.
I think it'll be an 80 movie.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'll...
By critics? You think the critics are going to give Suicide Squad an 80 plus? Wow.
I have high hopes for this
Is that
movie.
our next drink bet?
We'll get to that.
You want to bet? No, we got to bet now, man. Suicide Squad's coming.
No, not yet. It's not even close to August.
All right, fine.
You gotta give me more time.
Okay, to stew on it.
I do think that has the potential to be the best comic book movie this year. I think it could even be more entertaining than Civil War, and it could also have better acting. I think my personal favorite, when it's all said and done, will probably be
X-Men.
Yeah, Apocalypse.
That last trailer I wasn't digging too much.
I know.
But I'm excited to see it. When does it come out?
In like 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
It's like the 27th or something.
So many movies. Yeah, May 27th.
Yeah.
So we'll have a pre- and post show for X-Men Apocalypse, and you can look forward to that as well.
Hopefully I can make a bet that I win for that movie.
Yeah, we'll see.
I wish that the trailer didn't come out with Wolverine, because I would have bet that Wolverine was going to be in the movie.
I think I would have said that Wolverine was in it.
Oh, damn.
There's not too late. If you think of a bet for next week's show.
Okay. I'll start thinking of one.
All right.
X-Men related?
Sure. Well, it has to be if it's going to be that movie. I bet Spider-Man shows up.
I bet you Oscar Isaac's going to be good.
That's all we got for you on this week's episode of Radiovania for your pre- and post-show for Marvel's Captain America Civil War. What did you think about the movie? Send your questions or your comments to us at Radiovania on Twitter, at Zach Rotella on Twitter, at DatJohnParker on Twitter, or email the show at radiovaniashow@gmail.com. And if you do like the show and you do want to support us, there's a few ways that you can do that. You can like and subscribe to the various pages on iTunes, Spreaker, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you could go to iTunes and leave us a rating and a review, a 5-star rating and a review on iTunes, that would really be appreciated because it helps us get noticed, helps get the word out to more fans, and so we can talk to more of you and have a good conversation. John, is there anything else you'd like to say before we close this bitch out?
Not really.
All right. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.